Greetings, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me. It's Christian of Standing Stones Healing, of course, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and host of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast, and the caretaker of 3 kitties. One of which, of course, is right here. There she goes again. Just FYI, that was a stray cat that I took in November of 2022 when she was coming to my back door wanting to be fed. I started feeding her, and then one day she showed up with her 2 kittens. And voila, I had 3 cats just like that. But I'm so honored to be here with you and to have you here, just as I'm honored to have those kitties in my life. And in this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast, I talk about being consistent, consistency in our Reiki business, because consistency is very important. You know, my kitty herself, she is pretty consistent, consistently stepping across the computer whenever it's time to go live, or consistently meowing and wanting attention when I'm recording a podcast. So she's pretty consistent too. But the thing with consistency in our Reiki business is that it sets up expectations for the clients. When we are consistent in our Reiki business, then our clients, our students, our potential clients, our audience know what to expect from us. So let me give you an example. Let's say that in your Reiki business, you start your Reiki sessions in one particular way. Maybe whenever the person comes in, you always greet them. Hi, how are you doing? How have you been? It's wonderful to see you. And maybe you have a set process. You know, some practitioners might have someone choose a crystal that resonates with them, or they might start banging on a drum, or they might have the person get into a meditative state. Whatever it might be, if you have someone who's come to you before, they are going to expect that the next time they come in for a session with you, it's going to be pretty similar to the first time that they had a session with you, or the second, third, fourth, however many sessions that they have had with you. Through that consistency of doing the session, starting the session in the same way each time, you've set up an expectation for the client of what they can expect when they go into the session. Now, let's say they go into a session with you and the experience in that session is not consistent with their previous experiences with you. Let's say they go in and instead of you saying, hi, how are you? You're like, all right, get on the table, let's go. That is going to be unsettling for the client because it's not going to be what they expect. Now, if in their first session with you, you said, all right, come on, let's get on the table, let's go, then they would expect that in the second session. But if it's not the same as it was in the first session, then you're going to have a client who feels unsettled, who it feels a little bit jarred by that experience, and is going to wonder then what they can expect in the next session with you if they come back. They may be so unsettled by the mismatch between their expectations and the reality that they may not come back. And so when we're consistent in our Reiki business, using the example of a session, for instance, or perhaps another example of posting on social media. Let's say that you put out a YouTube video once a week, and you've been doing that consistently for several months. As soon as you stop doing that, if there's someone who tunes into your channel regularly and sees your content regularly, they're going to find that, oh, you're not posting a video. What's wrong? What's going on? They're going to have expected a video, and when there isn't one, there will be a mismatch between their expectations and the reality. Now, this really is no big deal if you are, for instance, posting on YouTube once a week and then one week you don't post. Probably no one's even going to notice. But if you were to not post for several weeks at a time, someone's going to notice. Or if you are posting inconsistently, maybe a video here, a video there, maybe one every few weeks, once a month, maybe a bunch at a time, then people might start to notice and say, that's kind of inconsistent. When can I expect a video? I don't know when I can expect a video. I was expecting one every week, and now I'm just getting one whenever. And so there's a mismatch between the expectation and the reality with what your YouTube subscriber is getting. And so expectations are really important for us to be fulfilling with clients, and making sure that we are meeting their expectations in the simplest of ways in terms of that consistency. Now, what this doesn't mean is that I don't mean doing something like, oh my gosh, all my clients, all my followers are expecting me to post every single week and I need to do that and it's such a burden. But rather to recognize that there is some leeway within those expectations that you've set and the consistency. You know, sometimes the kitty meows before she jumps up on the table, and sometimes she just jumps up on the table. And so there's some leeway there. She might meow a little bit, and that's okay. And then sometimes she might just jump up without meowing. And so we still know that this is part of her behavior and something that she'll do. Sorry for the kitty. But we can expect it. But what I'm saying is that when we are consistent in a particular way in our Reiki business, we're building up trust with our clients, our students, our potential clients, our audience. We are building trust. And our clients are getting to a point of trust where when they come into a session, they can trust that that session is going to be pretty similar to what it was before. And I can trust that when I hit record, that my kitty is going to be right here to say hello to you. That's something that we can trust when we go meet with a practitioner, that they are going to behave in some similar ways to how they have before. They are going to conduct the session in ways that they typically have before. And that is going to help us to be at a place of ease and a place of comfort with the experience. And so consistency is about setting up expectations, and it's about comfort too for our clients, students, and potential clients. And so if a client was to come into your Reiki session, and you don't usually say this, but you were to say, come on, get on the table and let's go, that's going to be uncomfortable for them. It was uncomfortable that my kitty almost stepped right on a button. She is a sweetheart, and I can expect her to be a sweetheart, and I can expect her to also be a pain in the ass. But I love this kitty. She really is a sweet, loving kitty. But so with our clients, it's important for us to set up the expectations and to meet those expectations. And the way in which we really set and meet expectations with our clients is through consistency and through being consistent in the ways in which we show up. So how we might act in our sessions, how we might conduct our sessions, how we might interact on social media, how we might show up. And so I'll drop the link down below to this week's episode of the podcast on consistency. How are you consistent in your Reiki business? What do you think about being consistent in your Reiki business? Drop it down below for us. Let us know what you think. And I'm sending lots of blessings and best wishes to being consistent in your Reiki business.